Hello, welcome again to Reyna Clothier. I'm Reyna, and let's do another episode of Reyna Chats. So today we're gonna do with Boardwalk Empire. Meyer Lansky is one of the characters in there in Boardwalk Empire. Great show if you have a chance to watch it. So the ensemble that he chooses is just superb. So first off, I kind of noticed right away is the gorge position of the lapel. So normally I start with the shirt and tie, but I want to focus on this first. So if you notice my gorge, so basically is where the collar meets the lapel essentially. So this whole stitching right here goes all the way around the neck and it ends right here. So think of like a U that's like covering my neck essentially, and it ends at these points, and then it connects to your lapel, and that's where it kind of meets the little notch. Literally it looks like a notch, so it's called notch lapel, but that is the gorge where it meets. My gorge kind of goes essentially straight to my shoulder. If you notice, it barely goes down a little bit. His gorge of the lapel, or the lapel side of the gorge, it goes down a little bit more. So instead of going straight like this, or not perfectly straight, but it goes like this, it goes a little bit down. And if you notice the boutonniere lapel right here, the lapel hole, keyhole, it goes down as well. So that actually goes down a little bit more too, so it points more down. That's a sign of a older type jacket. So if you ever look at that and you see, why does it go down? And if I remember correctly, it's more, I would say in the 90s, in the 80s and 90s, it was popular, that one, that style of the gorge and the lapel. It looks awful now, but in the 20s, it really had a beautiful look to it. But they try to bring it back essentially, and then in the 80s and 90s they had the broad shoulders, and then the double-breasted look a lot longer essentially, so it looked like a V, almost a broad shoulders, skinny waist, and long length of the jacket, and just didn't look good as at all essentially. And then you have one button as a double-breasted, so they're very experimental at that time, but just didn't look nice at all. Just did not age well. But his jacket ages beautifully because it's a two-button front, so it's not a double-breasted, and his shoulders are not broaded essentially, so it kind of fits beautifully on his shoulders. It sets well on his shoulders. So that look, if you add all those pieces together, shows that it's a timeless piece. So I looked at that, and then also it's stitching on the pig stitching on the edge of the lapel. That the way they do it almost looks like real thick stitching, so you can see it more broadly. That's a nice look too. It's not as popular now. I have mine, but you can kind of see essentially when you're in person, you see a little bit more. I like it personally, but if you want a kind of clean look, not having pig stitching will be your best option. So, and then the width of the lapel, I would argue that's about 3 1/4, maybe 3 1/2 if anything, because it's a wide lapel, but very similar to mine. Mine's a 3 1/4. It's a timeless look. His might be 3 1/2. It might be a little wider, but I think having it wider over time sticks out, or stands better through the test of time, rather than skinnier as it goes thinner and thinner. That doesn't test time as well, or handle the test of time essentially. So I don't think that's a good look. His look with the wide lapel looks amazing, and then with the buttons, if you notice on the vest, looks really nice. It's a contrast buttons, kind of a brownish wood type and it looks like it's a texture type button, so it kind of sticks out more. Beautifully made, and I'm assuming that's the same type of buttons for the jacket as well. And then you have, yeah, it looks like a contrast collar. I really like that one. It's a white collar and a different type of pattern of a dress shirt, and especially if it's a subtle pattern. That's why I have to look a little closer at the picture. It looks like a white stripe. It almost looks like white on white stripe, but if anything, has kind of like a grayish stripe to it. Very nice. With the tie, I love the polka dot ties. In fact, this is a polka dot tie myself. I call it the most solid type pattern tie you could think of. It's not solid. I personally don't like true solid ties. I just don't like it. I know in the political world, stripe and solids are a little better or more common. I like the button, if you know, or the polka dots. Polka dots, I know some presidents wear polka dots sometimes, so I give them credit for wearing that to kind of stick out a little bit more. But it still shows the significance of your role. It still shows the conservativeness, that you're not playing around. It's still solid, still powerful, but it does have some spokenness to it, some feeling to it, not just bland. So I like that. It's a 4-in-hand knot tie. The collar style is pointed and is very, very short. The length of the collar, I like that. It doesn't look like he has a collar bar or collar pin. If you're gonna have that type of collar, definitely add the collar pin to it. It just looks a lot more elegantly. He already looks elegant already, so you also add to that. You won't make any mistakes by adding that. So, and then the fabric itself, it shows it's a very, very monotone feel. It looks like it has some type of texture, so almost like a tweed feel to it, a wool. So it looks a little heavier, essentially a heavier fabric. So I think it's just a lot of fabric on him. So maybe not having the vest might work a little better, but he definitely would show his power would be a little different if he had no vest on. So remember, the vest, the idea of, or in some countries they would call it waistcoat. So why would they call it a waistcoat? Obviously it ends at your waist, the length of it. So it's supposed to be under your jacket, but I'd like to go even deeper, the meaning of it. It goes under because it kind of adds a layer of power to your ensemble. So if you take it away, you're really taking power, again, under the radar. People won't notice it, but the right people will notice it. So I think it's a great selection, even though it's a lot of heavy fabric that he has. I don't think it matters. And for him, he's looking more for power, and he's making a statement. And this tie kind of sticks out a little bit wider in the way he has this tucked in with the vest, so it looks a little, I would say a little more of a power move with that as well, so it kind of sticks out more to make it more flamboyant. But all in all, it still has a very conservative theme to it, so it's really neat how he kind of pulled that off. So but anyways, that will be the conclusion of this critique of Meyer Lansky of Boardwalk Empire. Get a chance to watch it. It's a great opportunity, or great show to watch. If you're interested in a custom garment yourself, feel free to reach out to us or go to our website, reynaclothier.com, and you can book an appointment there. And we work with clients all over the country, so not just here in Texas, and we'll love to serve you. So feel free to reach out to us. Until then, have a wonderful day.